Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be playing through another session in Final Girl, and this one is Mort and Mega BG Con. This is one of the latest ones that was available at Gen Con this year, and it is very fitting as this takes place in a board gaming convention. And with this one, this introduces Mort, which is a brand new type of killer, as this is a murder mystery in a way. You have to figure out who the actual killer is, and is going to have 10 of the old villains from all the different Final Girls showing up in this one. And so they are basically cosplayers that you don't know which one is the actual true villain, so you're going to have to find clues, interrogate different suspects, and coerce them, and all kinds of other things to determine who is the actual killer. Once you have determined that, then it is time to go into your final battle and take the killer down before the killer is able to eliminate you. And so in this playthrough, I'm going to test my mental fortitude against the killer and see if I can figure out who did it and take them down before they're able to kill me. So as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow and build to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, as I'm constantly dropping all kinds of new videos, whether they're teaching videos, playthroughs, unboxings, crowdfunding videos, and others, hit that notification bell and let you know whenever I drop new stuff. So let's go ahead into the table and we'll see how this one plays. All right, so moving into this one, first off, I've gone ahead and completed setup for the different things. Now, with this one, there is no killer currently, as Mort is hiding in the crowd among all the different villains that are out there, and I'll explain how that's going to work in a minute. So first off, there's a couple additional things I have to handle for setup. So first, let's go ahead and choose our final tokens here. And I will take this one for Final Girl. And Mort will take that one. All right, the rest of these will be returned to the box. So that's that. I do have to handle an event card, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I have Media Starlet. I heard she has over 1 million subscribers. Oh my God. Reveal a booth card and place the Media Starlet in that space. The Media Starlet will not follow you under any circumstances. If you save the Media Starlet, you may look through the used item cards and choose one to take. And if she leaves play, then this card is discarded. All right, so she's going to be down in the Fortunate Fowl, and that's going to be down here. So she's not that far from a safe space, so that's a plus. All right, so that's that. And then this will be discarded. All right, and then I'm going to place out all of the different suspects. So they're going to go into a space that does not have any victims currently. I'll fill in those spaces there first. Okay, and then I will place one here. Back halls. Go down there and down there. Okay. So from there, let's talk about the game a little bit. So first off, with the Mega BG Con. With this particular layout, you are going to, there are no technically search locations, as all locations are search locations, which is something really different and new. With that, on the back of your instruction manual, you're going to have the layout. So you're going to have the food court, which is this little space down here, which is going to correspond to that search deck. Then you have the exhibit area, which is going to be the main area in the middle, and the section down here. That is going to correspond to that. And then finally, the general area, all the different hallways and the docks and all that kind of stuff. So you can search in any spot with this one. It's just going to depend on where you're at, which deck you're going to take it from. Other than that, let's go ahead and talk about Mort now. So Mort is this is a mystery game. You're trying to figure out who he is, who represents him. So in order to do that, you're going to have to interrogate and coerce your different suspects and the informants, which will later on be placed out. And with that, you are going to be trying to gain clues that are going to tell you different things about the different victim or villains, and we'll eliminate some of them based on those criteria, and I'll show you that as we get into the game. Another important thing with the BGCon, everybody's having a great time trying to get the new games and all the exciting stuff with that. So the victims are not going to follow you in the exhibit areas, out of the exhibit areas. So you're going to have to cause them to panic out of those areas, which there are special cards to create a panic and will help you in that endeavor. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the game. So with that, let's go ahead and start off with I'm going to start with a walk action, see if I can start moving here. So when I take a walk action in these back areas, if there's a section or a connection of blue arrows, that means I get to roll an additional die for that check as long as I move into one of those spaces as my first move. So I'm going to get to roll 3 dice. Normally I get 2, but I get 1 extra one for that. So we'll see if this helps me. And I got 1 success. All right, so I get to move 1 space. So I'm going to move here, and that is going to take the time down by 1. And I'm going to do it again. And this time I only get 2 dice. And I got a 1 and a 4, so I will spend the weak attack and short rest to convert that to a success, which is going to take me down 1. And I'm going to go into the tarmac, which is going to save that victim, which gets me an extra time. So let's go ahead and go over Maureen. So with Maureen, each one of the survivors included in this have a very interesting ability. So unlike in previous ones where you'll simply choose a spot to place a victim, with this one, each time you save a victim, you're going to gain a time, and you're going to place the victim on the card and then roll a die. If the result is lower than the number of victims on the card, you may flip it over, and then you keep the victims on the card after you flip it. Now, once it's flipped, a really interesting thing is that you can discard 1 or 2 victims that are on there to use a card, any card that is in the display. And with this, depending upon if you spend 1 victim, that card is removed from the game afterwards, or if you spend 2, then it is not removed. And so that is a very interesting thing. So saving victims in this is going to really help you in certain parts of the game. All right, so that is that, and I won't roll for that because I can't roll lower than a 1. And then I have my 2 focuses. So I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 and see if I can get some focus back here. And no luck, so I'm going to lose 2 time for that one. And I'm going to try it again and see if I get a little bit better results this time. And not so much. So I'm going to lose 2 more time for that, and that's that. That is a rough round. All right, so we're into the buying phase, which I have 1 purchasing power. So I guess I will take a close call, as there's nothing else I can do at this point. So those are going to go away. And it's over to the killer phase. So with the killer phase, this is going to work a little bit differently. You're going to activate that ability as usual. But now there's a bag that determines which one of the suspects will be Mort for this very finite moment. All right, so we have Razorface is going to be our Mort. So Razorface is going to move towards either the victim or Final Girl that's closest. So he's simply going to move out into the main hallway, and then he can't attack or kill anybody. So then his token goes back into the bag, and he might be drawn again later on. All right, so that takes care of his thing. And then we have the terror card. So cosplay photo op. Move yourself and all victims 1 space closer to the nearest suspect. All right. So I have a choice. I could go down or over. So I'm going to go over. This one's going to move up. These are going to move out. So this is actually a very helpful card for me. And then down, down, and up and up. Wow. This could be huge. If you're in the space with a suspect, you lose 3 time. I am not, luckily. And then it is going to move the terror or the horror up 1. All right. So that actually moved all the victims out of those areas. Or actually, well, it could go either way. So yeah, I'm going to move them into the hallways. Well, if there's ever a choice, it's always not in my favor. So this one will go up, and this one will go over. And I guess this one could go over then as well. And so could that one. All right. Well, that wasn't as good, but these definitely are huge steps. So that is a plus there. And there is no separation there, so that is all one area. All right, so unfortunately, I can't move this turn. Otherwise, that would have been, I could have really made some headway there, but not so much. Oop, I grabbed the wrong color meeple there. Should be that one. All right, that is the killer phase. So then the panic phase. So no one is going to panic currently. And then we're in the upkeep phase, which there's nothing to handle during the normal part of the upkeep phase. But with the BG Con, there is a new thing with the booth. So I'm going to reveal a booth card. So this is Follower Games. And I'm going to roll a die. And if I roll a 1 through 3, I'm going to spawn a victim, which I did. If I rolled a 4 through 6, then it would have been a booth event. So there's a new victim that's coming out in the follower space, which is going to be, unfortunately, right in there with that guy. All right, that is the end of that turn around. So we're into the new action phase, and I have nothing I can do, unfortunately. So I go right into the planning phase where I'm going to be buying stuff again. So I will get my cards there. I'm going to buy a sprint for 2. I will buy an interrogate for 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll buy another close call for that. So that will take care of that. So this was a super fast turn. Back to the killer phase. So let's see. There should be a killer doing something this time. Unless it's this guy over here. Okay, so we have Gelato. Are you kidding me? That is crazy luck. All right, so he is going to move 1 space towards the victim or final girl that's closest. He is 2 spaces away there. 1 space away, 2 there. So it's equal distance, so I think he'll go after her. All right, so that's that. So I've been very lucky so far. All right, everybody's a suspect. I'm going to reveal a card, and they're going to try to take out somebody. All right. I don't think my luck's going to hold this time. All right, so it is Ghostface, and Ghostface is down here. All right, so she is going to move towards and take out one of the victims. So she's always going to move towards the space that has the most. So she's going to come on down here, and then she takes out somebody. Since there's a choice, I think that Media Starlet will go. Oop. And that goes up here. All right. That takes care of that. So then the other victims are going to panic as we move into the panic phase. So with that, with the hallways and that, you roll 2 dice to determine, because there's all kinds of different options there. So first victim there is going to go into 6, which is, so back into this room. And then the second victim is going to go into 9, which is over here. All right, so unfortunately those victims returned to the exhibit area. And so things were looking good, but now they've quickly shifted back into the favor of the enemy. All right, so that is the panic phase. So now we're in the upkeep phase. A new booth card is going to be revealed as there's nothing else to handle at this point. And it's a 6, so we're going to have a booth event. All right, so this is Star Sighting. Do you know what that is? If there is no special victims in play, reveal event cards until you find one with a special victim and resolve it. Then shuffle the revealed cards back into the event deck. Take the special victim closest to the booth and place it in the booth space. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? Nope. Oh, there it is, the Annoying Reporter. All right, these will get shuffled back up. Okay. And with the Annoying Reporter, place the Annoying Reporter in your space. She must follow you where you move, and you lose time if she is in your space at the end of the action phase. In order to save her, discard the weak attack card while in a safe space. All right. And so then it says take the special victim closest to the booth and place it in the booth space. So she is unfortunately going to go into there. Well, more or less, kind of fortunately, I guess. And that will be that. So that is the upkeep phase. And now it's back into my turn and I actually get to do some stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a walk action, I think. Well, I could do some focuses too. Let's try a focus. And 2 successes. All right, so I finally got a little bit of a break here. So that gives me 2, and I get to take it down 1. So I could do that again. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get below that at the moment. So let's do... Let's do a walk action. So I am going to be moving into that space there, so I do get to roll an extra die for this. It's a cracked die, so there's 1 success. I could convert it to 2. That might actually be worthwhile. I do have the weak attack and short rest, so I will do that, convert that to 2 successes, which is going to cost me a time, and then I'm going to move 2 spaces. I'm going to move here and here. So that will rescue this guy, and I get to roll a die. If I roll a 1, then I get to flip my card. It is not a 1. Okay, so that takes care of that. And then there is a suspect in there, so I'm going to go ahead and try to interrogate that suspect. So I get 2 dice. And it's 2 successes. Wow. All right. So it's going to cost me a time, and then I panic the suspect and reveal a clue. All right, so with that, I'm going to panic the suspect. So with that one, it's just 1 die for that space. And it's going to go into 5. So 5 and 6 puts him into there. Then I get to reveal a clue. So I get to take 1 of the clue tokens. And it's a 5. Okay, and then I reveal that spot with my magic wand on there. So Mort's favorite villains are not psychopaths. All right, so what that means is that I'm going to go through all of these and see if any of those match. So with that, each one of them has 7 different categories. So I'll go through that with Razorface here. So mask or face paint. So his is face paint. Series of origin, series 3. Height is average. Favorite board game style is abstract. Favorite horror movie genre is gothic. Favorite horror movie villain is vampires. Favorite VRG game is popcorn dice. So with that being said, I went to clue number 5, and it says Mort's favorite villains are not psychopaths. All right, so with that, I'm going to go through and find all of the psychopaths. All right, so we have the Ratchet Girl, who is a psychopath, or her favorite movie villain is psychopaths, and Hans as well. So those 2 actually are going to be eliminated. So with that, I will take their little minis off and replace them with informants. So Hans is... Where's Hans at? Hans was the one that just moved, so he's going to become an informant. And Ratchet Girl, which is down here. Okay, so those 2 are off. And now if I draw those from the bag, then they are going to, that's just going to be disregarded, and you won't carry out that action. So it gives you a little bit of a bump there. All right, so that is going to be that. And what else do I want to do at this point? So that's where I'm at. I could sprint. I will go ahead and try to focus again. I think. Yeah. All right, a 5 and a 3. I'm going to go ahead and spend one close call to re-roll the 3 and just see if I can get lucky here. Nope. Okay, so I do have one more close call. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to lose a time, and then I do get to tick the marker down 1. All right, and then I do have a close call, a sprint, and a walk left. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to sprint. And I got 2 successes, so I can move it to 3 spaces. All right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to stop there because I cannot, if I move out of there, I will not be able to take victims as they are in the exhibit area and they do not want to leave. And it does cost me 1 time, and I think I'm going to hold there. So with that being said, I do have a couple of points that I can spend. So I'm going to get another sprint, and I will take a search card. All right, that is going to be my turn. So then these will be placed back out. And then the interrogates will be available again. And that's that. All right, so then it is the killer's phase, as I've spent all my stuff. So let's see what happens with this. All right, and we have Geppetto. All right, so he is all the way over there still. So the closest space is going to be that one there to get him there. He has a couple different options. He could go through the exhibit area and head up, or he could go through the side docks. I think I'm going to keep him in the side docks, though. Okay. All right, that's that. He was not able to kill anybody, so then the terror card is revealed. I want to see what your insides look like. All right, so again, this is going to have one targeting the Final Girl. So she's all the way over there, so I think I might be okay. And it is the Hunter. So he is going to move in and attack her for 1 damage. So she does lose 1 there. And if no one was attacked, then I would have raised the horror, but she was, so I don't have to worry about that. That was the killer phase, so panic. There was nobody killed, so I don't think they're going to panic at this point. And then we're moving in the upkeep phase, and again, there's not much to handle except for the booth. So we have outside down games, and they're going to have a victim placed in there. Okay. So that's that. And that is the end of the upkeep phase, so now it is back into my turn here. All right, so I will... I don't have a way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the walk card to create to gain the create a panic card. All right, so that'll be discarded. All right, so with this one, I'm going to go ahead and try to do this. So we'll see how this works. All right, so I got a 4 and a 1. That's not a great option there. All right, so I'm going to spend the close call and reroll all the dice. All right, I got 1 success. All right, so panic each victim in your space. You may modify each panic roll result by 1. Okay, so with that, what I'm looking for is a 6 or a 1. So we'll see how this goes here. All right, so victim 1 is a 5, so I can modify that to a 6. It's going to kick him out here. And then the second one is a 5, which I can modify to a 6. Fantastic. So that was very helpful. All right, so that is going to take the time down by 1. And then I do want to do a sprint. And that's a cracked die. All right, so a pair of 2s. Ah, that's not great. All right, my luck ran out. I just needed 1 success to pull that off, but unfortunately not so much. All right, so I am going to lose the health to move here, and that is going to end my turn, as there's not much else I can do anyways. And it's going to cost me 2 times. So I only have 1 time anyways, so I will take that, and I'll take this set of cards. So the sprint goes back. Create a panic goes back, close call, and walk. Gets discarded up there. All right, that is my purchasing phase. So killer phase. Let's see what happens here. All right, now I just don't want it to be one of those guys. And it is Ghostface again. She is on the move. All right, so she is going to move 1 space. And she's got a lot of options. Lots of options here. So I'll put her in there and take that one out. Okay. And tarot card. A lot going on today. Draw an event. Okay. All right, so we have lunchtime. Put 2 tracking markers on this card. During the next 2 action phases, victims will follow you out of exhibit spaces. Remove a tracking marker at the end of each action phase. Well, now that comes up, of course, after I spent all that time to panic everybody. All right, so that will go here with 2 tokens on it. Okay. And then if there are 1 or fewer events in play, up the horror by 2, which there are 2 events currently. There's lunchtime and the annoying reporter, so nothing there. If there are 2 or more events in play, resolve another terror card. All right, well, I guess that's not great. All right, so the next terror card is everybody's a suspect. All right, so this one's going to have me drawing another one. All right, and it is Bagman, so he is going to take this one out. That increases that by 1. All right, so the victims are slowly dying here. All right, that's that. Okay, so then it's panic. Nobody's panicking currently. And then it's the upkeep phase, so it's going to be a booth card because there's nothing else to handle at this point. So we have Sorcerer's Marvels. And it's another victim placed out. All right, Sorcerer's Marvels is going to be there. Or actually, Ghostface was here. So she would actually go here because she's always going to go towards informants instead. So that also increases the horror by 1 when an informant goes down. As I got to watch that. Okay, that is the upkeep phase, and she took him out before the other one showed up, so he would not panic, obviously. All right, so I do have the 2 focuses, which I could start with. I mean, getting extra dice is always good, so let's go ahead and try it. And I got 1 success, so that's going to lose 1 time, but I do get to go down 1. And I guess I will try it again. And a pair. All right, that's awesome. So I get 2 time back, and I get to drop by 1, which means that I get 3 dice now, so that's great. And I could do a walk, so let's go ahead and do that. So now I get 3 dice. and I got 1 success. I could upgrade that to a second one. So that would let me rescue 2 and move 1 more space, which, if I roll well and I unlock her ability, I could do another interrogate. Which might be worth it. So let's do it. So I'll increase this to that. So that's going to bring me back down by 1. I can move 2 spaces. So I'm going to move into here, take in the 2 victims. So I get to save each one, which gives me a marker. And I get to roll a die. If I roll a 1 or 2 now, I get to flip. And I did. All right. And that was a bowling. All right, so I get to flip her card over, which I also will get the other victim at this point. All right, so once per action phase, I may discard 1 or 2 victims from this card to resolve any 1 action card from the action tableau, as though it was played in your hand. If you choose to discard only 1 victim for this card, remove the action card from the game after resolving its effects. All right, so I do get to move a second space, so I'm going to go ahead and go there. And I am going to spend 2 victims right away to use that ability, and I'm going to do an interrogate on the guy that's in there. All right, so I'm going to get 3 dice. And I got 2 successes. All right, so that means that it's going to cost me only 1 time. I will panic that suspect, which is going to be a 4. So he's going to move into there. Okay. And then I get to draw a clue card or token. All right, so it's a number 2. So let's see what clue number 2 is. All right, Mort is not average height. So going back over here, it's not average. So short. So we're looking for average height. So it's going to be Geppetto, tall, average, and Krampus. Oh wow, and Razorface. So all 3 of them are average height. Wow, that was a big reveal. So we're down to 6 or 5. All right, and then I have to remove this one, that one, and Razorface. Razorface is down there. Oop. Before I do that, I do have to place informants. So let's go ahead and handle that. So that one was there. Razorface is here. And Krampus is there. Okay. All right, that's those. All right, we're getting down there. Okay. So that's pretty much everything I can do on my turn. I could do a search, actually. I mean, I'm doing so well on the time, though. Yeah, let's do it. All right, so I got 1 success. I could reroll 1 die, but I think I'm okay with that. All right, so I am in the general area, so I'm going to get the deodorant. So this is choose a victim in your space and panic that victim. You may reroll once, keeping the new result. All right, and it does have a marker on it, so I'll have to grab one of those. It actually has 5 markers on it. I don't think I have enough markers for that. Actually, I do. Wasn't sure if I would or not, but I do. Okay, so that will go in my backpack. And that was the search, and I'll hold on to that, and that is going to cost me a time. Okay, so I'm at 6 time, and I'm into the purchasing step, so I do get the walk. At this point, it would probably be worth taking the coerce. And I will do a sprint. And I will take a search. So that'll take care of all my time. This stuff goes back out. Okay. That is my planning phase. So in the killer phase. Yep. All right. So hopefully I'll pull one of those guys from the bag here. There's only a few out at this point. And it is the big bad wolf, not what I was hoping for. All right, so he is going to move towards the final girl or the victim that's closest to him, which is going to be the informant, as he is going to prioritize that. Well, she's equal distance. Maybe he'll go after her instead. So that's going to do 2 damage to her, so she is right on the verge there, but I do get an extra die now because of that. Now, I'm almost 100% sure I don't get that because he's not out yet. So that is the one kind of tricky thing there, I guess. But, all right, in the lunchtime, I will tick down 1 because of that. I don't know if I'll actually be able to benefit from that or not. We'll see what happens here. All right. All right, that is that. And then a terror card. Everybody's a suspect. All right, so I have to reveal a new one. And it is this guy here, so he's going to take him out, and the dark power is going to be revealed. All right, so we have Anonymous Terror. Each unrevealed clue counts as 2 clues when the final is revealed. All right, so that can't be good. All right, and he did take out a victim, so I don't have to worry about that. So that's a plus, I guess, at least, at the very least, on that. All right, so we're in the panic phase. I don't think anybody's going to panic currently, and now it's the upkeep phase. So we'll have a booth. So we have Soxley, and it's a 6, so we have an event. And we have Wet Floor. So you're going to place the Wet Floor token on the booth space. When you move to this space, you must end your movement here. All right, so luckily I don't have to go into there, hopefully. All right, and I'll just leave that up here for the moment. And this will be discarded. And that is the end of the upkeep phase, so back into my turn. All right, so I do have the big bad wolf there. So I could spend the 2 victims that I currently have and do another interrogate. Or I could spend 1 and remove the interrogate. Because at this point, there are enough informants out. As long as I can get to them, I could probably get through the rest of the clues without. And if I get lucky, yeah, let's do it. Screw it. I'm going to remove 1, and that means the interrogate is gone at this point after this. So I'm going to get 4 dice now. 3 for the level and 1 for that. All right, let's see how this goes. And I got 2 successes. All right. So it's going to cost me 1 time. I'm going to panic the suspect. And he's rolling, nope, just 1. All right, so he's going to 1. So he's going to go into here. And I reveal a clue, which is number 1. So let's see what number 1 is. Mort's favorite game is not comedy horror. Our favorite genre. All right, so psychological, slasher, gothic, comedy horror, and comedy horror. Oh, wow. All right, so I got really lucky there, and that's going to eliminate 2 more. So that's going to eliminate Baghead, which is down here, and the Hunter, which unfortunately is in there. All right, so we're down to just 3 more suspects here. All right, now this is gone from the game, so I'll just put that over there. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a walk action. Okay, all right, so I'm going to get 4 dice. And I got 3 successes. All right, so I'm going to be able to walk up to 2 spaces. All right, so I'm going to go in here and come back out. So I'm going to save that informant, so that one will go there. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to sprint. And I got 2 successes, so I can move up to 3 spaces. So I'm going to go 1, 2, into there. That costs me a time. I'm going to do a coerce. All right, I got 1 success, which is going to cost me a time. It's the only difference. I will remove the informant from the game, and I get to reveal a clue. All right, so this is clue number 3. So we're almost there. So clue number 3, Mort's favorite villain is not vampires. All right, so favorite villain, extraterrestrial, ghosts, and vampires. So that's going to take the big bad wolf out, which actually is pretty good overall. All right, so 1 more, and I will know who Mort is. All right, so then course is done as well. So I have close call and search. All right, I got to be careful here. So I'm getting to the point where I am pretty close to the 2 suspects. So they are going to potentially move into my space. And I am in the exhibit area, so I could have the convention beer. I'm going to go ahead and use the deodorant. So it says choose a victim in your space and panic that victim. You may reroll once, keeping the new result. All right, so 1 through 3 will send him here. 4 is where I really want him to go, and 5, 6 would send him down there. All right, so it's a 6, so I will re-roll that. And it's 6 anyways. Ugh. Well, that's not good. All right, so that takes care of that. Or actually, I did have one extra move. So I don't have to do that because the lunchtime is still in play. So instead, before I coerced them, I could have brought them all up here. So I'll do that instead. That way then I'm not as close. I mean, it's not going to matter because they can still move 2 spaces. But at least then there's that. All right. The question is, do I want to search or not? I need at least 2. So if I roll 0, I'm in big trouble. But I am getting 4 dice, so... And I got 2 successes. All right, so I get to take the top 2 items. This is the general area. I get to choose one of them. I do lose a time. All right, so I have either the energy drink I can discard to skip the next killer phase. Ooh. Or the LARP shield, which is a hand weapon, or a hand item. Use if taking 2 or more damage to reduce it by 1. I mean, the shield is pretty nice, but being able to skip, I think, is the better option. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and discard it right away to use that. So I'm going to skip the next killer phase. So that will be good because then I'm not going to have to worry about somebody else getting killed and causing all those nasty effects. All right, so I think I'm going to end there. I'm going to hold on to that. I do get my stack of cards back, and I have 2 points to spend. I only got 2 points. I'm going to buy a guard. I think it's time to just have one in my area. Okay, so with that being said, these are going to go out. So search is going to go there, coerce, sprint, and walk. Oh, that's not good. I only have 1 walk in here. So I have to get 2 for that to get to the tarmac at the very least. Okay. And anytime I did coerce, so pretty sure that ticks him down 1 as well because of the guy. Let's see. When you save an informant, after receiving the reward for your final gold card, you may reduce horror by 1. Okay, so I did not save them. I did, that's different. Okay. All right, so that we skip the killer phase. We're into the panic phase, which there is no panicking currently. And then it is in the upkeep phase. So booth card is there. And it's going to be an event. All right, so it's cosplay conundrum. Can I get a picture with you? Move all victims 1 space closer to the killer. All right, so the killer, I have to reveal a token. Unless it's... Oh, and I think lunchtime is gone at this point. So it depends on what I draw from the bag. Dr. Fright. There's 2 out there, and I managed to pull them. Oh, jeez. It's closer to the killer. All right, so everybody's moving up. So he's going to go there. So that's not helpful at all. All right. Well, he's not going to be killing anybody, at least at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. That kind of changes stuff a little bit, so I'm not going to be rescuing anybody currently. But I can still finish this. All right, so that was the upkeep phase. Now it's back into my turn. I did spend my tokens, so that's that. All right, so I guess I'm going to start with a walk. And I got 3 successes. All right, so I get to move 2 spaces. All right, I definitely don't want to move into his space. I'm going to move there. All right, and that's pretty much all I can do with that. So I will go ahead and spend the 1 to trigger, or to do course. So I'm going to get 4 dice. And I got 1 success, which is fine. Costs me 1, and then I will remove that informant. And I get to gain a clue from the thing. So this is the final clue, which is 4. All right, so 4 is Mort is not wearing face paint. All right, so it's not Dr. Fright. So he gets removed and a guy gets placed out there. All right, so that will take care of that. And I think at this point, now that I've got it down to 1, I get to reveal. All right, so now that I have revealed all 5 clues, you will have correctly identified who Mort is disguised as. Flip the clue card to its opposite side and use the clue viewer to confirm the correct disguise. All right, so I'll flip it over, and it is Tormentor. So I was correct. Okay. At the bottom of the card, immediately discard any minor power cards in play. Next, discard any remaining terror cards and replace the final remaining suspect miniature with the one that you correctly identified with the Mort miniature. All right, so Mort is going to be replaced now. Okay, and all the terror cards are gone, so no more terror cards. Okay. Then remove all informant meeples from the location board. Okay. Finally, flip over the final suspect card. Okay, and that will probably replace that. Okay, so that will replace this one. Okay. And then the final is now active. If the dark power has not been revealed, reveal it immediately. Mort immediately receives the amount of health indicated on the suspect card, including the final health token. And when the final is revealed, flip this card over and place it on top of the booth deck. All right, so at this point, do not draw booth cards during the upkeep phase any longer. All right, and so Mort has 6 health, so 5 tokens. 2, 3, 4, and 5, plus the final one. Okay. So I have handled all that. So now that is gone, but it doesn't matter. Now I do have 1 person left. All right. So it's still my turn. What do I want to do here? I mean, at this point, I don't have a lot else I can do. So I will try to do a focus. I'm going to get 4. All right, I got 2 successes. So it's going to give me 2 more time, and I get to decrease that by 1. I could do it again. Ugh. Attack and short rest would get me 1 at least. I'll do that. It's going to drop me 1, but then I get it right back. So it was basically a net gain of nothing. All right, I think I will hold on to those 2, so I have 6 to spend. All right. So I do have 1 victim left, so I could do... So it could let me do the critical blow, which is going to be important. I'm going to grab the retaliate, hopefully to keep me safe there. So that gives me 2, and that gives me 2 buying power left. I will do the sprint and the walk, I think. Well, the walk I'll get back. All right, so then I have, these are all there. So I just got to stay alive for a little bit here now. All right, that is my turn. So now it is the killer phase. All right, so the killer action. So with this one, there's an effect. So after resetting the time track or the time marker, each planning phase, decrease the time by 1 for each unrevealed clue to a minimum of 2. So luckily I had revealed all the clues, so there won't be any effect there. But from there, it is going to move towards me, 1, 2, and attack. Well, it moves towards me, then it moves again, and then attacks twice. All right, so this is going to be big. I need both of these to go to work here. So I'll do retaliate first. I'm going to get 4 dice for that. And I do have a close call. I do have a couple cards I could discard if things go really bad. All right, so I got 1. And I do 1 back. So I could do... It'd be great to do 2 damage to Mort, but I think I'm not going to risk it. So I'm going to do... It will reduce damage from the attack by 2, and he's only doing 2 currently, so that's okay. All right. And then the second attack, I need 1 success, and I got it, so I'm good there. Okay. All right, so no damage there. That is going to end the killer phase. Now the panic phase, there was no damage done. Okay. And then it is back in, or the upkeep phase, which I don't really have anything to handle for the upkeep phase, so then it's back into my turn. Okay, so I have the one victim left. Might be time to do the critical blow. If I can get 2 successes on that, that would do 4 damage to him. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to spend the victim. That's going to let me do critical blow. I will be discarding the card afterwards, but having a 6 costs card, I think likelihood is not going to be good anyways. So let's see if I can get it here. All right, so I got 1 success, and I can convert 1. All right, I'm going to try to reroll 1. Yep. Come on. Ah. All right, so either I do the 2, and it would end my turn. I have to spend the 2 cards. Actually, it would probably have been better to spend the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that instead of the roll. So it wouldn't have mattered. So I'm going to spend the 2 to convert this to a success because I don't want it to end my turn. So I'll do the 3 damage to Mort. And I get to decrease that 1 by 1, so I get a time out of it. And then this card is eliminated from the game. All right, so now I have to do a sprint. And I have to be able to move 3 spaces. 1. I have to be... Oof. I don't know if there's a way to do this. So I'm not going to get the retaliate back. I think I might have bit the dust here. Okay, hold on, Matt. Well, I'd have to get another victim. Well, I can only do it once per action phase anyway, so it's not going to matter. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, Mort's moving a little too quickly. Being able to go 2 spaces. Well, if I go straight down, if I get 3 spaces, then I'll be far enough away that he's not going to go after me, because he'll go after or she's going to go after the most on that second part of it. So she'd actually go up again and then take them out. All right, so this has to work. And I got it. Oh my goodness, I got it. Whew. All right, so the 2 successes means that I can move 3 spaces. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. Or actually, let's see. 1, 2. Because there's no way to get to there from... Okay, so I can do that. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to save that victim. Okay, so I won't get anything out of that, but that's all right. That's going to be the last thing I can do. So then it's my turn. Or my planning phase. I got 6 to spend. So I have to get the guard. I'm going to take a search card. So I got 2 left to purchase something with. So I guess sprint. Okay. So then I get to place those back. Guard and retaliate. And I get these back. So that goes there. All right, so now it is the killer phase. So it's going to move, Mort's going to move towards me for the first thing, which is 2 spaces. And then it's going to move towards a final girl or victims that have the highest amount. So it's going to move here, and it's going to take both of them out. So it will increase by 2, which is going to put that there. And that's going to take care of that. Okay. So from there, all right, so I've got some options here. The convention beer would be super helpful. So let's go ahead and do a walk. So we get 4 dice. Ugh. Wow. That was a terrible little thing there. All right, I don't have any of those, so... So I'll do the short rest and a focus to convert it to 1. So it's going to tick 1 down there. And I'll move in there. Okay, and then I will do... I'll do a search. I got 2 successes, so it's going to take a time, but then I get 2 cards. So convention beer is super helpful. Otherwise, I have convention program. You may look at the top card of the booth or booth event deck at any time. Definitely not that one. So that's going to go back on top. Or actually, I can kick it on the bottom. It's probably not going to matter because I'm probably not going to be searching anymore. This is pretty much going to be it here. All right, so that's in my backpack. Fortunately, it kind of leaves me as a sitting duck, though, because I have to discard all the cards in my hand. Whew. So, I guess if I live through this, then I can use that as a final thing. Okay, and then let's do... I gotta be careful here, because I have to have... I have to have 4 to purchase Retaliate. All right, there's 1. Okay, rolls are rough, so I'm going to move into his space, or her space. And then, ooh, I don't have a victim. All right, so I think I'm going to have to hold there. I'm going to spend the focus to gain an extra time. And then I'm going to gain the retaliates during the planning phase. And we'll see how this goes. I would have liked to do the weak attack, but if I failed, I would have taken a wound, and that probably would have finished me off. So I didn't want to really risk it there. All right, so then it is the killer phase. So Mort's going to go, and nothing happens there. Oh, wait a minute. No, yeah, because I don't have anything else that I can purchase with at this point. So I'll get that. So it's all coming down to this. Okay, yep, so that's that. All right, so let's start with the retaliate. So she's hitting me for 3 damage. I get these. I have to have 2 here. I can drop a couple just in case, but this one's, come on, let's see it. And I got it. All right, so 2 successes. That was absolutely critical. All right, so I'm going to ignore all from the attack, and then I deal 2 damage. So there's that. And let's see if Mort is going to continue. Oh, no, he does. With the best result possible. Or she with the best result possible. She's got 3 health. Whew. That's terrible news. All right, so Retaliate goes away, and then I do have a guard that I have to play now, and I have to get 2 successes here as well. And I got 1 success. I'd have to spend the other 2 cards, which means I'm not moving. I mean, I have to at this point. Yeah, unfortunately, I have not been able to save anybody else. Yeah, so I have to spend these to avoid the damage. So that'll take care of that. And then it moves into... Or wait a minute. I think... Let me double check something, because when when one of those is triggered, does that end the thing completely? Okay, so it does, yeah. Right here. Whenever someone comes back to life, the current phase immediately ends and play continues to the next phase. Okay. So I don't have to play the guard and those, so that's a plus. All right, so just to retaliate since that was that. All right, so now it is into the panic phase. No one's panicking. And the upkeep phase. There is nothing to handle for the upkeep phase, so now it is back into my turn. All right, so this is return to the top here. All right, so I'm going to try to walk. And I rolled absolutely nothing. That was a terrible time for that. So I'm going to lose 2 there, and there's really nothing else I can do. So I will buy the second guard card for 2, and I'm going to buy the 2 close calls, and that will take care of that. And I'll get this stuff back. All right, so it's really going to come down to whether I can fend off these attacks for these 2 guard things. And the next turn I could buy the retaliate. Yeah, because I only had the 2. All right, so now it is into the killer phase. So the killer's going to attack me twice. So I have to guard. And both of these guards have to work for me to make it through this. Not like that. Not like that at all. All right, so I'm going to spend 2 to re-roll that whole roll. All right, so I got 2 successes there. So the first guard has been successful. Second guard against the second attack is also, wow, super successful. All right, so that's going to take care of the killer phase at this point. So then the panic phase, no one's panicking. And the upkeep phase is solid. All right, so it is back over to my turn. So I just have the 1 walk action again. And I feel like I need to play the weak attack to at least get that down. And that will let me buy the retaliate. Hopefully. And it'll all come down to that. So, yeah, I think I have to do this. So, let's see if I can get this off here. And I got the 2 successes I needed to do a damage. So that's good. Okay. And then that is, I think, pretty much everything I can do right now. So, buying phase, I'm going to buy the retaliates, and it's going to come down to that. And yeah, that's all I can do. Okay, so killer phase, let's do it. It's all comes down to this. I need 2 stars to stay alive. Well, I'll need 2 stars. Okay, so I didn't roll any successes. So the question is, I could spend, well, I got enough to do it. So spend those 2 to convert and spend those 2 to convert. And that'll be the 2 that I need to do 2 damage. And Mort has been eliminated. Let's see if my token would have had me coming back. And no. So if I would have taken a damage, that would have been it. And I would have been down. All right, so that was the game. Whew, it doesn't get any closer than that. It came right down to the wire, and yet again, that retaliation card, it was epic. That one has saved me so many times, but man, it was close, and I had a great time with this one. I love the murder mystery aspect to it. It really is a very interesting mechanic, and of course, something new and different within the Final Girl universe, and really incorporating some of those older killers is a lot of fun as well, even though they're just helpless suspects in this one. It is really interesting, as you never know who the real killer is or who's going to strike next, and so you're constantly keeping an eye on everything, trying to get those clues as fast fast as possible to determine who did it. So I hope you found the video helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if you noticed if I made any mistakes. I do make mistakes from time to time, and this one has a lot of little rules that can catch you by surprise. So again, let me know, and until next time, I'll see you later.